He carefully examines the item, concluding that it's notably different from the ones he's grown accustomed to using. He dismisses this difference, believing it's inconsequential since their ultimate fate is death within these very confines. Ignis then recognizes the towering figure before her as Glow, a prominent individual who holds the esteemed rank of the fourth best player in the notorious Number Zero Guild. A cold, hard truth washes over her: he's the very person responsible for the tragic demise of her beloved brother. Mandemic interjects, addressing Ignis and requesting a brief moment of her time. He politely asks her to leave Glow to him, confidently assuring her that he will successfully retrieve her precious item. Upon hearing Mandemic's declaration, Glow erupts into boisterous laughter, clearly amused by the notion that Mandemic believes he can achieve victory against him. Glow mockingly asserts that Mandemic will simply bring his own attack directly upon himself. Meanwhile, as they were locked in a fierce battle against Calendarer, an adversary possessing an unprecedented level of power, they simultaneously encountered Glow, the fourth most formidable player within the infamous Number Zero Guild. They are acutely aware of their urgent mission. They absolutely must protect the World Tree and recover that crucial item. She understands, with a grim determination, that they need to relentlessly continue their struggle until Olivia and Pakoi manage to awaken the mother of the World Tree. On a contrasting note, the little rabbit monster and Olivia successfully conclude their arduous fight against the formidable creature that was guarding the location. The little rabbit monster acknowledges the immense difficulty of their recent struggle, and Olivia offers her a well-deserved compliment. She informs the little rabbit monster that they now have precisely 40 minutes remaining before their critical deadline. Olivia urges her to initiate their movement immediately, emphasizing the urgency of their situation. The next adversary awaiting them is even more potent and dangerous than both Ignis and Mandemic combined. At this critical juncture, their ultimate victory will be entirely decided by the swiftness with which they can awaken the mother of the World Tree and join their comrades. Not long after that pivotal moment, they come across another individual. They observe a man standing directly in front of them, who introduces himself as Raffle, the formidable gatekeeper. Raffle extends a formal welcome to them, addressing them with the title of challengers. Olivia, with merely a single glance, is able to discern with chilling clarity that he will undoubtedly prove to be a truly formidable enemy. Raffle declares himself as the one whose purpose is to bring forth righteous trials. He instructs them to defeat him decisively, promising that should they succeed, he will reveal the true path forward for them. He then orders them to thoroughly prepare themselves for the impending confrontation. Olivia and the little rabbit monster make the collective decision to initiate the arduous fight with Raffle. The intense battle promptly commences between the three of them. Raffle, holding his glistening sword firmly, leaps with incredible agility directly towards them. Raffle strikes Olivia with a loud, metallic clanging sound that echoes through the area. The little rabbit monster immediately expresses concern, asking Olivia if she is all right after the impactful blow. Olivia reassures the little rabbit monster that she is indeed fine and extends her heartfelt thanks for the thoughtful concern. She then purposefully uses her sharp blade to make a small slit on her own hand. Following this, she instantly activates her powerful skill, Proliferation. In the interim, Raffle unleashes his devastating skill, Ashes, designed to slash through the identical duplicates of Olivia. He observes Olivia's unique power petals and swiftly realizes that this is merely a cunning trick. Olivia then creates a massive explosion, utilizing her inherent powers. Raffle holds his sword, placing its cold edge menacingly against Olivia's neck. He challenges her directly, asking if that is truly the extent of her abilities. And Olivia understands, with a jolt, that they absolutely cannot afford to lose this swiftly. She knows, with an undeniable certainty, that if she were to be defeated here, she would be completely unable to provide any assistance to Ignis. Raffle questions them, with a tone of disbelief, if they genuinely expected to successfully pass their demanding trial by employing such so-called tricks. He finds it utterly incredible that they entertain such a notion. He then chillingly informs them that it is now their designated time to perish. Olivia, resolute in her conviction, believes with all her being that she cannot afford to be defeated at this critical moment. At that precise moment, Raffle spots a girl. He is utterly shocked and taken aback to see this girl who calmly steps near him and instructs him to take good care of his mother. Raffle wonders, in a state of bewilderment, why she would suddenly appear here. He shouts at them, demanding to know if they are acquainted with her. Olivia is visibly confused, asking Raffle if he is referring to Ignis. He then remembers her name is indeed Ignis, and he pointedly asks Olivia how she knows Ignis. Olivia promptly informs him that Ignis is her cherished friend. Well, Raffle doesn't fully grasp the depth of what she means to her, but he simply supposes that it will all turn out fine. He confirms with Olivia that he is correct in his understanding that they desperately need the mother's powers. He tells them, with a sense of purpose, that he has a significant debt to pay off. So, as a result, he sends them forward to finally meet his mother. Olivia and the little rabbit monster express their gratitude to Raffle, who then informs them that under normal circumstances, they would still be aimlessly wandering in the intricate maze of trials, but he has decided to make a rare exception this time. Regardless, their unique powers originally emanated from Ignis. The vigilant gatekeeper must have perceived her distinctive energy within them, which then served to remind him of someone incredibly important to him. Olivia and the little rabbit monster firmly decide to venture further into the unknown. A system notification pops up, informing them that they are now transitioning to a new field, which is specifically designated as the Land of the World Tree. The little rabbit monster tells Olivia to fully prepare herself for the impending battle. Olivia and the rabbit monster are rapidly approaching Ignis. As they finally reach the interior of the Land of the World Tree, they encounter the majestic mother, who addresses them, stating that they are only the second team of challengers who have successfully managed to make it this far. She begins to envelop them within her vast branches, a gesture to ascertain and gauge their true capabilities. Rathia, the venerable mother of the World Tree, expresses her genuine surprise that they have managed to advance to this demanding stage. Olivia approaches to get a closer look at the mother of the World Tree. She realizes, with absolute clarity, that they must bring her directly to Ignis in order to secure victory, as she knows, without a shadow of a doubt, there is simply no other viable path forward. Rathia is well aware that it typically requires a multitude of arduous trials for a challenger to reach this sacred place, but they don't appear to have undergone the entirety of them. She directly questions them as to whether they completed the trials or not, and she then decides to personally assess what formidable abilities they possess. Rathia rapidly runs towards Olivia at her top speed. She strikes Olivia with considerable force. But Olivia immediately activates her protective flower petals. The proliferation skill is not solely about multiplying herself into numerous small fragments. It is through this reabsorption process with these specific petals that the skill's full potential is finally completed. She then proceeds to activate her next powerful skill, Matricaria. Rathia glares intensely at Olivia, who has just activated her new ability. She delivers a forceful blow directly onto Olivia. Rathia continues to glance to her side, pondering whether the skill she just witnessed is a fortification-type ability. She was about to physically pick Olivia up in her hand, when the little rabbit monster suddenly leaps nimbly between them and delivers a swift kick to Rathia. Both Olivia and Rathia then activate their respective skills. The little rabbit monster unleashes her potent skill, Bunny Crack, whereas Olivia simultaneously activates her precise skill, Petal Slice. Rathia questions them, with a hint of disdain, if this is truly all they prepared for upon their arrival at this momentous place. She then declares, with conviction, that she will bestow upon them the formidable ordeal they unequivocally deserve. She proceeds to activate her formidable skill of 10,000 branches. The little rabbit monster observes, with a growing sense of dread, those 10,000 branches that have now completely surrounded them. With a resounding kaboom and a thunderous voice, a massive blast rips through the air, and they both realize, with astonishment, that it is an incredibly powerful skill, with vast clouds of smoke completely enveloping the sky. The little rabbit monster is seen to be visibly injured, and she tells Olivia that she is now entirely counting on her for this critical moment. Rathia then observes the glistening slime mucus. If someone is intricately connected to a slime through its unique mucus, they possess the remarkable ability to share their inherent powers, which effectively means that all of their combined powers can be singularly focused on either individual. Raphia understands, with a profound sense of certainty, that their upcoming strike will undeniably be their ultimate attack, unleashed with every ounce of strength and magic they collectively possess. Olivia thinks deeply within her heart that she has never, for a single day, forgotten the profound moment when Ignis reached out to her and gently held her hand. Therefore, she firmly decides to give absolutely everything she has if it means there's a chance she can successfully save Ignis. She is now resolutely determined to protect Ignis at any and all costs in this dire situation. With a great deal of arduous difficulty and determined struggle, Olivia forcefully emerges from the dense barks of Raphia's tree. She resolves to pour every last bit of her remaining energy and power into this crucial blow of hers. She then activates her powerful Memorialia de Emma skill, known as Rhinus. When this formidable skill is activated, a dazzling and flashy green light completely envelopes the entire place. The intensity of the light is so extreme that other people present cannot accurately perceive their surroundings due to the overwhelming flash. Raphia is utterly shocked to feel the impact of that powerful hit on her. Olivia has truly utilized every last drop of energy she had remaining. A significant amount of pervasive destruction visibly manifests after that devastating blow lands on Raphia. Raphia knows, with certainty, that this was the final attack, unleashed with all the power Olivia had left. She then steps towards both of them, and the little rabbit monster instinctively tells her to stop, instructing her to stay far away from Olivia. Olivia knows, deep within her being, that she is utterly finished, as she possesses absolutely no strength left in her body. Raphia tells them that she is profoundly impressed and has now come to fully comprehend why the diligent gatekeeper allowed them entry into this sacred place. She assures them, with sincerity, that she will unquestionably do whatever the two of them came here to request. Olivia then asks Raphia if she truly means what she is saying at this very moment. However, Olivia is overcome with immense happiness after hearing Raphia confirm that she understands their power originates from Ignis. Now, Olivia finally comprehends why the gatekeepers dispatched them and what is truly transpiring in this momentous place. Raphia concludes, at the end of their conversation, that Ignis has indeed found some truly magnificent and loyal friends. The scene then shifts abruptly to Ignis, who is huffing and visibly exhausted after a fierce and prolonged fight. She is shown the item, and is gently reminded that she specifically desired that item to be present here. The person also seeks confirmation on this matter from Ignis. Ignis responds, affirming that she is absolutely correct in her statement. Calendarer then asks Ignis to allow her to pose a question. She asks Ignis to tell her if she knows why they, as individuals, were ever born into this enigmatic world. Ignis begins to profoundly ponder this weighty question after hearing it articulated by Calendarer. She vividly recalls the hunter's dismissive words, labeling her as mere experience points. She begins a mental review of everyone's words and actions up until this very moment. She distinctly remembers when the hunter, with a cruel satisfaction, told her that it was genuinely fun to hunt her down. Ignis also recalls the fundamental question of what they were truly supposed to do, as if a higher power had constructed this entire place, rendering them utterly powerless to change anything about it. Ignis extends her hand forward, offering an answer to a profound question. One which she is still unsure about but would very much like to explore and understand further. Calendarer tells her, with a sense of disappointment, that she hasn't fundamentally changed anything, even after all this new knowledge and experience. Calendarer then stands directly before Raphia, who lets out a hearty laugh upon seeing Calendarer after a considerably long period of separation. Calendarer also acknowledges that she hasn't seen Raphia in quite some time either. Raphia informs Calendarer that there's absolutely no need for such excessive formalities between them. She fondly remembers a time when they were all together, united as one. Calendarer grins, a subtle smile playing on her lips, as she looks at Raphia. They both clench their hands, preparing for a powerful attack against each other. They both rapidly run towards each other, intent on striking one another. They are both utilizing their inherent strengths at their absolute peak performance. Both individuals deliver powerful, impactful punches to each other. They are fiercely bashing and pummeling each other, and Raffia and Calendarer stare intensely into each other's eyes. They both simultaneously activate their formidable skills. Calendarer unleashes her Watcher of Darkness, whereas Raffia concurrently activates her Secret Garden. The entire surrounding area is violently rumbling because of the sheer power of their activated abilities. Raffia smirks, a look of amusement on her face, as she observes Calendarer and her eerie, spooky skills. A massive boom resounds through the area. Raffia asks if Calendarer doesn't recall that her skill possesses the unique ability to counter that particular skill of hers. She pointedly questions why Calendarer has not changed even a single bit at all. Ignis observes, with a growing sense of alarm, that all her own skills have been entirely cancelled out. She knows, with an undeniable certainty, that the sheer amount of clashing mana here is truly incredible. She is also acutely aware that she absolutely cannot participate in this monumental clash. She suddenly considers that the World Tree's mother is now awake and has arrived here, and then she wonders, with a surge of concern, what has happened to the little rabbit monster and Olivia. She then yells at Raffia, asking her if she has not just recently come across two unusual monsters. She urgently asks Raffia to tell her where both of them are now. Calendarer sharply tells Ignis to stay out of this dangerous situation and, with a clear intent to provoke, calls her daughter a Florith. She then attacks Ignis, and as a direct result of this assault, Ignis's body completely freezes up. She cannot even manage to utter a sound, let alone make any movement. She realizes, with a chilling understanding, that Calendarer was merely toying with her during their previous encounter. Raffia laughs, an amused sound escaping her lips, as she questions Calendarer about why she is snapping at her with such ferocity. She asks her if she is simply reverting to her old habits and personality. Calendarer concludes, after hearing Raffia's remarks, that she truly has not changed even a single bit. She is still precisely the same as she was in the distant past. She then activates her powerful ego skill, the Spear of Emptiness Void. Calendarer begins to step forward, with a menacing intent. She declares to them, with chilling conviction, that she is going to systematically kill every single one of them. The scene then dramatically shifts to Glow, who is pondering, with a hint of disdain, what Nandemic has been occupied with since he left them. He certainly did not anticipate finding him here, foolishly spending his time with a mere monster. Nandemic has heard more than enough of Glow's nonsensical taunts. So, he now simply tells Glow to hand over the item and promptly leave. He knows that Glow came here with the intention of affecting the World Tree, but Nandemic does not desire this world to break apart. He asks Glow if his understanding is correct. Glow merely tells him that they will have to patiently wait and see if it will indeed break down or, perhaps, become even more entertaining. He begins to gather his formidable powers. He summons a skeletal entity of some kind. The unique field known as Beyond the Border is immediately activated, and the caster of Beyond the Border also receives the advantageous bonus of a unique black field. Another notification appears, informing them about the powerfully awakened form of the Soul Reaper. Nandemic observes that Glow has now become serious. And Glow begins to laugh loudly, a sound filled with unsettling glee. He marvels at what a remarkable coincidence it is that this particular skill is causing his parameters to rise higher than they ever have before. Nandemic knows, with a sinking feeling, that the powers Glow now commands could potentially match that of Harkmorph, who holds the formidable rank 2 within number 0, or perhaps even surpass him. In addition to Nandemic having already expended a considerable amount of his stamina and mana, other players simply cannot stop a unique field skill once it is activated. He wonders desperately what he can possibly do to extricate himself from this dire mess. Glow tells Nandemic bluntly that there is no possible way out of this for him. He strikes Nandemic from his back, and a thunderous booming sound erupts upon impact. Nandemic falls a considerable distance away. Glow swiftly rushes towards Nandemic. He forcefully pushes Nandemic away. He then begins to exert immense force upon Nandemic. Glow observes the unbelievable power he now wields. He smugly thinks he could now easily defeat Harkmorph and even that first-ranked player in the entire state. Nandemic is lying prone on the ground. Glow asks Nandemic if this is truly all he has left to offer. Glow tells Nandemic that he had genuinely expected better from him. He then activates Stiffen in Heavenly Prison. Nandemic realizes, with a sigh of resignation, that he has once again let his guard down. An immense gust of air begins to breeze through the area. Nandemic hopes with all his might that it will be enough to bring Glow down. The skull appears ominously. And Glow compliments him, stating that it was a nice try, although it ultimately proved ineffective. Nandemic tells Glow that he should listen closely. He tells Glow that their collective choice will significantly impact the fate of this world. They desperately need more time to adequately deal with what is rapidly approaching. There are various monsters in this world who possess genuine consciousness or egos. Some of these monsters are simply striving to save their own families. He realizes that they need to find a peaceful and harmonious way to coexist with them. Glow asks Nandemic, after hearing about the ego monsters, why he should even care if they possess egos, because, to him, this is simply a game. Plus, there was one more crucial thing he wanted to confirm with Nandemic. Something he came to realize just now while fighting with him. He's learned that Nandemic is not the original owner of the character he is currently playing. Nandemic is visibly surprised after hearing this revelation about the original owner. This profound story begins a long, long time ago. A persistent beeping sound starts emanating from the system. It's happening again, and the incessant ringing in Kim Yong-hun's ears has noticeably worsened. Kim Yong-hun is a middle school social studies teacher, leading a seemingly ordinary life. The principal gently taps Yong-hun's shoulder and asks him what his thoughts are regarding dinner on the 14th of the month. Yong-hun, after hearing the specific date of the 14th, apologizes to the principal, explaining that he's afraid he already has something important scheduled for that day. The principal finds this perfectly acceptable and assures him they should simply meet another time. He tells Yong-hun to simply let them know whenever he finds himself free. Yong-hun has diligently taught at the same school for many years. His colleagues and acquaintances often remark that he appears as if his emotions have completely dried up. He has been in this particular state for such an extended period that he genuinely cannot blame them for expressing such observations. He vividly remembers the poignant words of his son, who once asked him why he was never sad. Additionally, his wife had once told him, with a tone of deep despair, that being married to him made her feel utterly dead inside. That, tragically, was the reason his wife and son eventually left him. He reflected that he believed he never truly had the right to prevent them from doing so. This emotionally detached state was simply how he had always been. The students inquire with Yong-hun what is wrong with him, noticing his distant demeanor. The students then tell him that the bell for dismissal has already rung, so they don't understand what he is still pondering so intensely about. Yong-hun instructs them not to forget their homework and to be cautious when crossing the road. The students, curious, ask Yong-hun what profound thoughts he was contemplating. Anyway, they collectively decide to head to the internet cafe. On his way home from school, his own elongated shadow is his only loyal companion. But sometimes, it is within these very shadows that they unexpectedly stumble upon the least expected occurrences. That was precisely how he came to meet him. He spotted a young boy named Kim Hyul. Yong-hun asks Kim Hyul what he is doing there, as he sees him sitting and lying with his head bowed low. Kim Hyul is a student from class 3 at his school. He clearly could not have acquired those noticeable bruises simply from playing sports. For some reason, the boy looks a bit uneasy and troubled. So, Yong-hun gently asks Hyul what exactly has happened to him. Hyul tells him that he merely fell on the ground while playing soccer. Anyway, he assures Yong-hun that it is absolutely nothing to be concerned about. Yong-hun offers him a refreshing milk bottle to drink. Hyul expresses his gratitude to Yong-hun, who is his respected sir. He returns to his home, where a man is already seated inside. The man is busily engaged in a phone call. He tells the person he is speaking with on the phone that it's a quick and simple job. He tells the person that the woman appears to be loaded with cash, and she is also quite lonely, suggesting that perhaps in less than a few months, his plan will come to fruition. Yahello observes the man sitting there. The man abruptly hangs up his phone, stands up, and stares intently at Yahello. He sternly asks him what he's doing out so late in the evening. Yahello tells the man that he was simply playing soccer with his friends. The man questions him aggressively if he doesn't remember that he explicitly told him to stay in his damn room after school. Yahello explains that his friends wanted him to join them. The man slaps him so harshly and forcefully that Yahello falls to the ground after being struck. The man sees the visible mark on Yahello's face, which appeared after he hit him. He hopes earnestly that no one else will notice that mark. He supposes, reluctantly, that he could overlook this particular transgression. But still, he sternly tells Yahello that if he doesn't want to endure another beating like that recent night, he has to listen carefully to what he says and, crucially, not tell anyone about any of this. The parents of Yahello had divorced a long time ago. So, he was compelled to live with his mother. She was perpetually busy with work, which meant they didn't forge many lasting memories together. She was perpetually busy with work, which meant they didn't forge many lasting memories together. Perhaps this bothered her deeply, which was why she eventually presented him with a gift. After that, she remarried a peculiar man. The man told Yahello there was absolutely no need to rehash everything that had transpired between them. He genuinely believed that if Yahello simply remained silent, then everything would undoubtedly be alright. Yahello possessed his video game, so he thought everything was fine and manageable. He never harbored any desire to go home after school. So, when they unexpectedly met in that alley, it was almost as if their encounter had been perfectly planned. Young-hun gave him a refreshing banana milk. This seemingly small gesture meant a great deal to Yahello, perhaps even more than Young-hun could have possibly imagined. Young-hun never seemed to care about how Yahello was behaving or who he truly was as a person. Yahello asked Young-hun if it would be acceptable to him. He asked Young-hun if he could possibly come to his house the day after tomorrow. The familiar beeping sounds began to occur once more. It started happening again with Young-hun. He only clearly heard the phrase the day after tomorrow. He had existing plans for that specific day, but he knew, deep down, that Yahello genuinely wanted him to come and see him on that particular day. Young-hun assures Yahello that he will indeed stop by. Yahello smiles brightly after hearing Young-hun's promise. Yahello did not show up at school the day before they had planned to meet. Since Young-hun was not his homeroom teacher, he merely heard that something had occurred at home. Then came the very day they were supposed to meet. Yahello wasn't there, just as Young-hun had reluctantly expected, and he realized there was no logical reason for Yahello to venture out in the heavy rain. It is raining heavily, and while holding his umbrella, Young-hun makes his way to the place where he has an important obligation. He knows there is something he needs to do today at all costs, to pay his respects to his late mother. He goes to his mother's grave and asks her if he is doing all right in life. He has befriended a boy named Yahello and sincerely wants to help him because Yahello reminds him so much of his own son. He apologizes to his mother, feeling ashamed as always. Visiting his mother's grave triggered uncomfortable memories and thoughts. The wounds on Yahello's face, which Yahello claimed he got from playing soccer, now seemed suspicious. Also, Yahello has not attended school for the past few days, and Young-hun didn't hear Yahello's request to visit him due to the persistent ringing in his ears. He is passing by the mountain when he suddenly hears a piercing scream. As he ventures further, he is utterly shocked by what he sees. The ominous premonition quickly and tragically proved to be true. There, on the mountain, lay the lifeless body of Yahello. The boy named Yahello realizes that he needs to delve back into his past to explain how all this tragic series of events came to pass. Approximately 1 year ago, his mother frequently embarked on numerous overseas business trips. Although he was already accustomed to not having a father figure present, his mother adamantly insisted that she would find a trustworthy man and marry him. However, the man she chose was far from what he expected, to say the very least. One seemingly normal day, the man who was Hyal's stepfather entered the room and sternly told Hyal to promise him one crucial thing. When Hyal began living with him, he soon discovered the true intentions of his stepfather. He overheard his stepfather on a phone call. His stepfather was angrily yelling at the man he was conversing with, reminding the man that he had explicitly stated, "This girl has a lot of money. He just needs to invest a couple of years in her, and the payoff will be absolutely huge." Hyal then entered the room. He bravely asked his stepfather if he was referring to his own mother. His stepfather abruptly told the man on the call that he would speak with him again later. He then forcefully grabbed Hyal and angrily asked if he hadn't told him just a few days ago to stay put. He then shoved Hyal roughly. He aggressively closed the door behind him. He made it perfectly clear to Hyal that if he didn't comply, he simply wouldn't have a choice. He told Hyal that perhaps he had also heard the famous quote that there's only one way to truly teach a disobedient dog, by whipping it. Hyal desperately told his stepfather to stop, warning him that he would call the police if he continued. His stepfather mockingly asked him what he would possibly tell the police and questioned why they would even believe him. He told Hyal that kids like him, who are good for nothing, always think in such naive ways. Hyal then threatened him, stating that he would tell his mother everything about him. His stepfather stepped menacingly towards him and slapped him brutally across the face. He started repeatedly smacking him in the face. He told Hyal that he had encountered many individuals just like him. He asked Hyal if he genuinely believed everything would go his way. He made it unequivocally clear to Hyal that even if it did, he questioned Hyal if he thought that he would simply leave him and his mother alone. He told Hyal to go ahead and do whatever he desired. He questioned Hyal while kicking him, asking if he was now so frightened that there was someone to physically beat him. Every agonizing blow that day made Hyal realize that reality was starkly different from his innocent dreams. Moreover, he concluded that he was utterly worthless and completely incapable of doing anything by himself. His stepfather then grabbed Hyal by his hair, as he realized that he should avoid hitting his face in case anyone saw the marks. He told Hyal not to anger him. Hyal was bleeding profusely. This became his new, horrifying life for some time thereafter. He would make video calls to his mother, who was mostly overseas. But he couldn't tell her a single thing because his stepfather would always sit directly in front of him, overseeing the call. Hyal used to lie to his mother on video calls, assuring her that he was perfectly fine. So, he told his mother not to worry about him at all. His mother was genuinely happy to hear that her son was doing perfectly well. She still maintained, in their regular video calls, that she thought he was a trustworthy man. She also called his school and inquired about his performance. He thought that it would not take long and that it would not be so bad. He truly believed it would all pass by quickly if he simply remained still, as his stepfather instructed. There were a lot of needless and painful beatings, but he could tolerate them because he still possessed the video game his mother had lovingly given him. Mandemic went online. Hyal is certain that no matter how painful his reality becomes, he knows that he can persevere. At the very least, he can rely on this virtual world that his mother provided him. He is absolutely sure that no one can physically hurt him within the game. He is the only one who receives no damage, and he shall forever be known as Mandemic. The scene then dramatically shifts to the mountain, where Yong-hun is sitting on the cold ground, openly weeping. A police officer approaches Yong-hun and respectfully asks him if he has a moment to spare. They then informed him about the tragic case, revealing that the victim was, in fact, his own student. Yong-hun learned, with a heavy heart, that Hyal was not even contemplating dying at first. But on that fateful rainy night, he had, regrettably, considered it while standing at the cliff's perilous edge. Regardless of what his ultimate decision may have been, the relentless rain caused him to slip and tragically fall to his death. Yong-hun deeply wonders what unforeseen circumstances pushed him to such a desperate edge. He begins to sadly contemplate what that boy, with his radiant smile, ever did to deserve such a fate. Tears well up in his eyes as he reflects on the profound reasons behind the tragedy. He wonders, with a painful ache in his soul, why Yahello had to die. On the contrary, Yahello's mother rushes frantically to the hospital. The doctors, with grim expressions, prevent her from entering the operating theater. She is crying uncontrollably and desperately asks the doctor what has happened to her beloved son. The doctor informs Yahello's mother that the operation is currently in progress. So, he instructs his mother to remain outside the operating theater. She yells hysterically at the doctor for preventing her from entering the room. She demands that he let her see her son inside the operating room. Yahello's treatment is ongoing when, tragically, Yahello's heartbeat abruptly ceases. That, sorrowfully, was how Yahello ultimately died. Not long after, irrefutable evidence surfaced that he had been subjected to severe abuse. The abuser was subsequently incarcerated due to this and numerous other charges. But still, what had already transpired could never, under any circumstances, be undone. Yahello's mother went inside the prison to confront him. She regretted her past inaction. But now she realizes, with profound sorrow, that she should never have allowed a monster like him anywhere near her precious Yahello. After things had somewhat calmed down a little, Young-hun went to the house where Yahello used to live. He gently knocks on the door, and Yahello's mother invites him inside. Young-hun greets Miss Kim and respectfully asks her how she is holding up after the tragic events. Yahello's mother has already heard a great deal about Young-hun, so she warmly invites him to come further inside. She tells Young-hun that Yahello had mentioned he occasionally gave him banana milk. She also fondly mentions that Yahello spoke about Young-hun quite affectionately. Young-hun realizes, with a pang of regret, that Yahello must have asked him to come to his house that fateful day. Young-hun told Yahello's mother that he might have been able to save him if only he had gone to visit him at his house. Yahello's mother assures Young-hun that there is no fault whatsoever in him and tells him that it is perfectly alright because he gave Yahello someone genuine to rely on. She slides a box towards him and presents Yahello's game to Young-hun. She informs Young-hun that Yahello deeply relied on this particular item. She tells him that it is a virtual game that she gave him as a cherished present. It turns out that the man she married tragically broke it when he was violently trashing her house. Young-hun discovers the heartbreaking reason, and he comes to understand that when Yahello lost the very thing he relied on most, he made the devastating decision to end his own life. Yahello's mother tells Young-hun that Yahello's user data is securely saved in the memory chip. She believes, with a mother's intuition, that Yahello would undoubtedly want him to have it, given how much he trusted Young-hun. Young-hun hesitates initially. But then he extends his hand towards Yahello's mother to gently take the chip. Yahello's mother entrusts the chip to him. She requests Young-hun to take the chip and to forever cherish Yahello's precious memories. Young-hun assures her, with a solemn promise, that he will never forget Yahello until the day he himself dies. After that profound encounter, he made the decision to quit teaching and became a farmer instead. He firmly believed that a teacher who had tragically failed to save one of his students should not be permitted to return to school. He also resolved on one pivotal thing. He yearned to see the virtual world that Yahello had cherished and make it last forever. He decided, with unwavering determination, to protect it and cherish it until his dying day. He now realizes that he absolutely must safeguard this unique world, which served as a sacred sanctuary for Yahello, a sanctuary that he cannot afford to lose. Glow smirks, a chilling expression on his face, as he gazes at the sword of past and present called Hackle. Mandemic holds the sword firmly in his hands. The intense fight immediately commences here. He charges relentlessly towards Glow. Glow's unique field must be significantly boosting his healing speed, making him remarkably resilient. It is specifically designed to wear out and exhaust the opponent who dares to fight him within its confines. However, there is a brief, fleeting moment when his core becomes visible as he is recovering from a significant injury. Mandemic knows that if he can manage to cut directly through that vulnerable core, Glow will surely perish. Mandemic understands, with a clear conviction, that this game is deeply personal for him, and that he has absolutely no right to judge it. However, he also recognizes that not all of them play the game for the same fundamental reason. Glow laughs, a mocking sound, at Nandemic and asks him if he's now lecturing him about his impending loss. He tells Nandemic to reflect on what has tragically become of him. He questions Nandemic, urging him to recall the fearsome Nandemic of old and asks him where that formidable presence has vanished. He then activates his devastating bone split skill. Nandemic stands there, observing the recently activated skill with grim determination. Nandemic knows he has only one single shot left with the limited mana he possesses. All users within the game Hidden Ego have the distinct choice to select a specific class and a unique ability. For instance, Cynthia's chosen class is a monk, which is essentially a priestess who actively practices martial arts, but she is also permitted to possess a totally different ability apart from that. He knows, with certainty, that he can manipulate both time and space. Glow tells Nandemic, seeing that he is preoccupied because he has to eliminate the boss monster now, that playtime is definitively over for him. He then enables the Soul Reaper's ultimate skill, aptly named the Soul Reaper Scythe. The immense power of the scythe is directly proportional to the caster's parameters, meaning that within his unique field, black, its destructive capability is deadly, to say the very least. He decides, with a confident air, to see who the ultimate winner will be. They both rapidly rush towards each other, aiming to land powerful hits on one another. Glow utilizes his ultimate skill, which specifically enables the final soul collection. Some individuals might question why they are so earnestly serious about a world that exists solely within a game. But the deeper question is whether the same logic applies to the complexities of the real world. Everything, inherently, possesses more than one side or perspective. And even a seemingly insignificant video game can, for some, become the only true sanctuary they possess. The same fundamental principle applies to the ego monsters, who are essentially the unique individuals born into this very world. All Nandemic desires is to discover the profound answer to his overarching question. Now, he enables his own ultimate skill. He activates the Gap of Time and unleashes an attack on Glow. Glow yells at him, telling him that it is utterly pointless. He questions Nandemic about whether he remembers that Glow can always miraculously heal himself. A vibrant yellow light begins to intensely surround the entire area. The light is so extreme and overwhelmingly intense. Glow knows, with a sense of triumph, that this is the very last skill Nandemic can possibly use in his current depleted state. He is fully aware that Nandemic has absolutely no mana left. Nandemic realizes, with a grim understanding, that his skill on Glow did not inflict any direct damage. Instead, it effectively turned back time. Glow is returned to the previous moment. He is now back in the time when he was holding Tafris's item firmly in his hand. After surveying his immediate surroundings, he wonders if he has just traveled back in time. He then receives a sudden attack from Nandemic's side, which successfully strikes him. He becomes stiffened again, momentarily paralyzed. However, Glow knows that Nandemic should be on the verge of dying after exhausting all these powerful skills. Plus, if Nandemic cannot manage to kill him in a single decisive blow, then the effect of his skill will eventually wear off, and Glow will be fully able to fight back. He realizes that if he cannot be attacked here, then he will remain completely safe. Suddenly, he is struck by Olivia's powerful skill, which activates the Memorialia DMR Ravenous. Glow wonders, with a hint of confusion, where that attack came from. Well, he still believes that it is perfectly acceptable because it did not inflict significant damage. Nandemic urgently requests Olivia to please take the item from Glow. Without wasting even a single second, Olivia leaps with incredible agility towards Glow to forcefully snatch the item from his grasp. Olivia and the little rabbit monster move determinedly towards Glow, who verbally abuses them, calling them little annoying insects. He then activates his bone split skill, and the little rabbit monster deftly dodges Glow's attack with remarkable speed. She bounces to the other side to protect herself from getting injured. She then enables her bunny slash, which skillfully slices the bones apart. Nandemic and Glow both fall a considerable distance away while Glow tells Nandemic to allow him to ask one final question. He questions Nandemic, urging him to reveal what the answer he is so desperately looking for truly is. Nandemic tells Glow that this game meant the entire world to a student he used to teach. He aimed to transform it into a world that the student could look back upon with genuine pride. Glow is lying in the corner, visibly defeated, and he tells Nandemic that they will simply have to see how well that goes. Just like that, Nandemic and Glow both retired from the intense battle in the land of the World Tree. Olivia's team, who valiantly took part in the fierce battle, succeeded in triumphantly recovering Taffer's item. She wishes, with a hint of longing, that Ignis had simply waited for her to arrive. Ignis is sitting with Olivia, who asks her what she anticipates will happen to them in the future. Ignis remembers Olivia, who, back when they participated in that enjoyable farming festival, asked her the very same question with a sheepish, endearing smile. Olivia knows, with a heavy heart, that everyone believes they should be killed, and it seemingly feels as though this entire world was fundamentally built upon that very idea. Olivia tells Ignis that it feels as if everyone is actively denying their very existence. Ignis agrees with her, knowing that Olivia is speaking the undeniable truth. Even if she succeeds in saving her brother, similar disheartening situations will inevitably happen again. Which is precisely why she thinks they absolutely have to change this world as a whole. Olivia then asks Ignis what tangible steps they can take to achieve this monumental goal. Ignis thinks deeply and then answers Olivia's question, stating that they still have a crucial task ahead of them, to diligently search and find the definitive answers to this complex question. Olivia realized one profound thing as they were diligently farming their crops. She genuinely enjoyed watching their crops transform and flourish as they grew larger. Perhaps she thinks that everything in the world is already in a constant state of flux and change, just like that. But she hopes, with a deep yearning, that something profoundly important never changes, which is the kind of cherished moment that she shares uniquely with Ignis. She tells her, with heartfelt sincerity, that if it were not for Ignis, then she would have completely broken down a very long time ago. She then solemnly promises Ignis that she will protect her until the very end. The scene shifts dramatically to the other side of the battlefield, where Calendarer and Wrathia stand poised, facing each other in a confrontation of monumental proportions. Calendarer's face contorts with unbridled rage as she declares to Wrathia, "I will kill and utterly destroy you." Calendarer's eyes blaze with an intense, bright light, as she begins to intensely gather her formidable powers. An immense amount of radiant light begins to emanate from her being. And she unleashes her devastating skill, the Wave of Life. The Wave of Life surges forth, enveloping the entire area. And Ignis, caught within its overwhelming force, collapses to the ground. She begins to cough uncontrollably, realizing with a gasp that merely witnessing these colossal amounts of mana collide is more than enough to overwhelm her senses and leave her incapacitated. She concludes, with a heavy heart, that this is a conflict she absolutely cannot meddle in. Wrathia, with a burst of incredible speed, leaps towards Calendarer and delivers a powerful, precise kick. She then slams her fist directly into Calendarer's face, sending her sprawling into the churning water below. The water violently splashes onto Calendarer's face, making her feel as though she is drowning, struggling for breath beneath the surface. Wrathia questions Calendarer mockingly if she is simply playing around, though she knows full well that Calendarer is undeniably serious. In front of Wrathia, a cataclysmic destruction is actively unfolding, a testament to the raw power being unleashed. Wrathia has been granted a truly unique and extraordinary ability as the mother of all life. She activates her awakened form, known as the Origin of Life. So, in essence, she is the legendary Dragon of Destruction, and her powers are distinctly different from Calendarer's. She plans to annihilate everything, commencing with the sacred World Tree, for that is precisely what she was born to do, what her very existence demands. Calendarer tells Wrathia that she hasn't seen her in that formidable form for quite a significant while. She then expresses a grim hope that Wrathia is truly prepared to meet her end in that very form as well. Raffia agrees with Calendar's sentiment, her gaze unwavering. She states, with a resolute tone, that they must fight relentlessly, and one of them will surely perish until everything reaches its inevitable conclusion. A booming sound reverberates through the air, and due to the sheer ferocity of the battle between the two formidable beings, the entire floor of the arena begins to violently rumble and shake. They both clench their hands, forming solid, powerful fists, intending to land devastating blows upon each other. Calendar attacks Raffia with every single ounce of power she possesses, pouring her entire being into the assault. Raffia knows, with a chilling clarity, that while they may appear to be fighting on a similar level of power, at the same time, both of them possess the terrifying capability to end the other with a single, decisive blow. She thinks, frantically, that she absolutely needs to finish Calendarer before Calendarer can discover how they could achieve that through the enigmatic process of item resonance. Ignis realizes, with a sudden surge of understanding, that she absolutely cannot allow Calendarer to resonate with Taphys's item, which Calendarer seems to possess. She believes, with a fierce urgency, that this battle must conclude swiftly, before Calendarer uncovers the secret of that resonance. She calls out to her brother, pleading with him to help her if he can somehow hear her desperate plea. On the other hand, Olivia decisively shoves the little rabbit monster and tells her to immediately give the item to Ignis, asserting that the little rabbit monster is the fastest among them. Therefore, Olivia knows that she could complete the critical job much earlier. The little rabbit monster, without a moment's hesitation or a second thought, sprints with incredible speed towards Ignis. Ignis sees Olivia and the little rabbit monster, and a wave of relief washes over her, seeing that they are both fine and doing well. Ignis yells at the little rabbit monster, ordering her to leave the perilous area, emphasizing that it is simply too dangerous here for her. However, the little rabbit monster, driven by her mission, does not hear Ignis's warning. Calendarer sees her running directly towards Ignis. She lets out a sinister laugh and reminds the little rabbit monster, echoing her earlier warning, not to get in her way. Calendarer launches her attack at the little rabbit monster, and very soon, the little rabbit monster feels an overwhelming sensation that she cannot possibly dodge the incoming assault. She wonders, with a surge of fear, if she is truly going to die in this moment. She continues to run, her determination unwavering, and suddenly, she feels a sharp, piercing pain as she is stabbed. Before she could suffer any more severe harm, Olivia bravely leaped in, shielding the little rabbit monster with her own body, protecting her from the brutal attack. She tells the little rabbit monster that it has always bothered her, the knowledge that the little rabbit monster doesn't possess a name of her own. This world, Olivia emphasizes, is far larger and more expansive than the little rabbit monster currently understands, and there are so many wondrous things she can accomplish. She tells the little rabbit monster to allow her to bestow a name upon her. Olivia feels that this name is something they will collectively need to paint the world with her vibrant colors. This name is Palkai, also lovingly termed Palette. In a heart-wrenching moment, Olivia succumbs to her injuries and dies, leaving the little rabbit monster to burst into uncontrollable sobs. Olivia had cherished every single moment of their shared journey together. She feels immense sorrow for leaving Ignis so early in their adventure. She genuinely desired to help her until the very end. But she wishes Ignis not to worry about her. In the next life, Olivia resolves to be a vibrant flower that continuously blooms for Ignis. She truly enjoyed every single moment of their journey together. She is deeply sorry for leaving her so early, especially when she had genuinely wanted to help her until the very end of their path. She is certain that Ignis will do perfectly fine even without her, since Ignis possesses the unwavering will to overcome any and all hardships that may come her way. So, she wishes Ignis not to worry at all, because she will undeniably be a flower that continuously blooms for her in their next life. The scene dramatically shifts to Ignis, who lets out a piercing yell after witnessing Olivia's tragic demise. She sprints desperately towards her fallen friend. Suddenly, in her frantic rush, she stumbles and falls to the ground. She begins to cry abruptly, her heart aching as she sees that only a delicate flower is left where Olivia once lay. A system notification appears, announcing the activation of an ultimate skill, the seed of fate that Olivia cast in her final moments. Ignis wishes, with a fervent desperation, that Olivia would stop joking, because Ignis had promised to protect her no matter what. She thinks, with a crushing weight of guilt, that if she allows Olivia to perish like this, she will never, ever be able to forgive herself. The little rabbit monster, now named Palette, also cries, wondering how Olivia could possibly leave like this, feeling it's incredibly unfair to them both. Ignis clenches her hands tightly, her body trembling, and she continues to weep uncontrollably as she remembers Olivia. It was a raging tsunami of emotions that she had never experienced before, a grief so profound it threatened to consume her. At that very moment, she felt something irrevocably snap inside her. Ignis slowly gets up, her movements deliberate. Her eyes have transformed into a furious, glowing red, and she begins to laugh, a chilling, guttural sound that resonates with pure rage. The little rabbit monster looks at Ignis with concern and asks her if she is all right. Another ego has tragically perished. Calendarer is probably planning to eliminate Ignis last, leaving her to deal with whoever remains after the main conflicts. Calendarer asks Larathia if she has forgotten, and she haughtily tells her that she doesn't need to resonate with Larathia's lousy item because she, Calendarer, will never be defeated. Larathia laughs, a knowing, amused sound, and tells Calendarer that they will indeed see. It is time, Larathia proclaims, to finish this, once and for all, Calendarer. This was undeniably their final battle, with their very existence hanging precariously in the balance. Calendarer thinks that they don't need any lengthy, drawn-out farewells now. So, she asks if they do, they both simultaneously activate their ultimate skills, unleashing the apex of their power. Calendarer summons the Star of Despair, a cosmic entity that voraciously swallows everything in its path, appropriately named Desperatio. Meanwhile, Larathia summons the sole duty of governing life, a powerful manifestation known as Viata. Viata and Desperatio stand formidable, facing each other across the devastated landscape. They are both instructing their summoned entities to take one more decisive step forward from their current positions. They both rush violently at each other, intending to deliver fatal blows. As they collide with immense force, an overwhelming explosion occurs. The entire area rumbles violently, and a significant amount of blinding light erupts from the point of impact. Calendarer and Larathia stare intently at each other, and Calendarer rises from the dust and debris after the devastating collision. Larathia observes, with a resigned expression, that her attack did not work as intended, which she acknowledges is truly a shame. But she thinks that if this is the very reason for her existence, then she can accept that outcome. Larathia's face is drenched in blood, a testament to the brutal exchange. She tells Calendarer to defeat her, while simultaneously activating her next skill. She enables her ego skill, Fertilizer of Life. She forms a glowing ball of energy and then releases it, allowing it to float menacingly in the air. Calendarer tells Larathia that she has truly had a great time engaging in this battle. Calendarer then also enables her formidable skill called Orb of Despair. She strikes Larathia with her powerful Orb of Despair. A brilliant light begins to glow intensely around them. With a sudden, cataclysmic boom, the mighty world tree tragically falls apart, its immense form collapsing into ruin. The little rabbit monster, now named Palette, begins to feel a sickening, suffocating sensation that literally takes her breath away. It must mean, she realizes with a dreadful certainty, that the world tree has indeed fallen, and the delicate balance of the world has been irrevocably broken. Calendarer begins to step menacingly towards Ignis. She tells Ignis, with a chilling smirk, that she is the next one to fall. The little rabbit monster, Palette, to whom Olivia so lovingly gave a name, defiantly asserts her new name, "My name is Palette," and staunchly refuses to let Calendarer go anywhere near Ignis. Palette stands bravely in front of Ignis, blocking Calendarer's path. Calendarer stares intently at Palette, who realizes, with a sense of grim acceptance, that this is the very end for her. Calendarer opens her fist and moves deliberately towards Palette. She reaches out to grab Palette by the face. Calendar was about to seize Palette's face when suddenly, with a burst of unexpected power, Ignis delivers a direct hit to Calendar's hand. A loud banging noise echoes, and in that moment, Ignis gains the dragon's second ego of grief. The creator observes Ignis, noting that she has awakened a second ego, a profound and unexpected development. The creator thinks that if she continues to consider Ignis merely as the daughter, then she is going to find herself in deep trouble. She is acutely aware that Ignis will now have to prepare to put her very life on the line to prove her existence worthy. On the contrary, Calendarer and Larathia are standing directly before each other, their fierce battle momentarily paused. Calendarer wonders if what she just witnessed was another ego awakening. Ignis looks incredibly aggressive, her face contorted with fury. She grinds her teeth, a guttural sound, and her eyes have turned a vivid, terrifying red. She then begins to laugh loudly, a sound devoid of mirth, filled instead with a chilling madness. Calendarer looks at Ignis, who now seems completely out of it, consumed by her newfound rage. Calendarer makes it unequivocally clear to Ignis that it matters not if a new ego has awakened within her, because it will not change absolutely anything in the grand scheme of things. Ignis is consumed by rage and aggression, her entire being radiating raw power. She bounces with incredible force towards Calendarer. Calendarer moves her hand forward to strike Ignis. But Ignis immediately shifts, displaying lightning-fast reflexes. She maneuvers to Calendarer's back and grabs her by the neck. She unleashes a deafening roar, a primal sound, and then ferociously chomps down on Calendarer's arm. Calendarer receives a system notification detailing the dragon's curse, which informs her that it is incurable. It also states that its increased damage is approximately 35. Calendarer cannot believe that Ignis could inflict such a curse upon her, especially considering Calendarer herself primarily utilizes darkness-type skills. She realizes, with a bitter taste, that Ignis' skills have now far exceeded her own resistance. Ignis jumps onto the ground, her gaze fixed on Calendarer. She continues to roar like a monstrous beast, a chilling sound that echoes through the devastated landscape. Ignis grins malevolently after looking at Calendarer, savoring her fear. She delivers a brutal slash to Calendarer and then follows it up with a powerful kick directly to Calendarer's face. With her formidable dragon nails, she strikes Calendarer once more. A booming sound occurs, and Ignis activates her terrifying skill, Crimson Spirit. A vast magic circle appears on the ground beneath them. A notification flashes in front of Ignis, stating that all her Parmea parameters are now multiplied by an astonishing 4044. Ignis leaps onto the ground again, still appearing like a truly fearless and unstoppable monster. She hits Calendarer, and a thundering voice erupts from the impact. The entire place begins to violently rumble because of the immense, overwhelming powers now wielded by Ignis. Calendarer retaliates, striking Ignis and yelling at her to die. An intense flash of light momentarily blinds the area. Ignis remains standing, unyielding, and then she deftly jumps to the other side to save herself from the counterattack. Her arm, shattered by the blow, breaks off and falls some distance away. Ignis' arm is completely broken. Calendarer grinds her teeth together in frustration, witnessing that Ignis willingly sacrificed her arm to ensure her own survival. Ignis smirks, a sign of her cold resolve. She activates an ego skill called the Blade of the Dragon of Despair. Calendarer realizes, with a jolt of recognition, that she has experienced this specific kind of immense pressure before. She is absolutely sure that it is her. After this realization, she thinks that in this dire case, she should no longer be holding herself back, no longer suppressing her true strength. She activates the Dragon of Despair, an awakened form aptly named the Queen of Despair. Here begins the final battle, with their very lives hanging precariously in the balance. Ignis and Calendarer stand face to face, their expressions grim. Palette knows, with a profound certainty, that this is their ultimate confrontation, and they will pour every last ounce of their being into this fight. She is acutely aware that this fight will bring everything to a conclusive end, once and for all. They both decide to see how this plays out, and Calendar activates her skill, Call of Despair. Some purplish-colored clouds appear ominously above Calendar. Calendar summons all of the monsters under her command to relentlessly attack Ignis. Ignis exerts her vast powers and forcefully pulls the attacking monsters away from her. A blinding flashing light appears there, and Ignis, after utilizing her formidable skills and powers, systematically kills every single monster present. The blood of those defeated monsters begins to drip, staining the ground. And Calendar enables the embodiment of despair. She possesses a curse, and then she proceeds to strangle her victims. Calendar immediately rushes towards Ignis and seizes her throat. She continues to press down on Ignis, her grip tightening, and Calendar steps forward, closing the distance. She tells Ignis that she is the first one to perform so exceptionally well, but she still asserts, with unwavering confidence, that Ignis will never truly win against her. She sees that the time has finally come for them to bring an end to all of this conflict. Calendar activates her skill, which is the sword of evil called Glandut. She holds Glandut firmly and begins to advance towards Ignis. She slashes fiercely at Ignis's head. She thinks, with a sense of finality, that everything should have concluded here, as fate would have perfectly orchestrated it. She grips Ignis by the neck, who is frozen in place, utterly paralyzed. Calendar is about to cut Ignis's throat when the system suddenly notifies them about the seed of fate called Livingstone Daisy. It is proclaimed as the flower of equality. Calendar sees that the skill of a dead ego monster has been initiated, a shocking development. Rathia appears on the scene, who knows that Olivia left behind the seed of fate, which then flowered into a Livingstone Daisy that possesses a unique and extraordinary effect. It instantly equalizes the Parmea parameters of all opponents that are present within its powerful aura. Calendar scoffs at this, telling Rathia that garbage is still garbage with a flower on top. She asks, with a sarcastic tone, if Rathia truly believes a mythical rank skill would even work on her. Rathia smiles subtly at Calendar and tells her, with a knowing calm, that they will indeed see if it will work on her. The system then notifies them about another skill, which is Live's Fertilizer. This skill changes one opponent's rank to the highest exclusive rank available. The system introduces the Flower of Heaven's Living Daisy, whose rank is now officially exclusive. An explosion happens there, causing a vast cloud of dust to billow all around them. The system then notifies them of the unique field, the Land of Equality, where two opponents will have precisely the same parameters for a duration of 120 seconds. Calendar sees that it appears this will truly be the final stage for both of them. Calendar attacks Ignis with her sword, lunging forward with grim determination. Ignis also steps towards Calendar, her gaze unwavering. She tells Calendar to look at her daughter, Raffle, who has grown so much into a formidable warrior. Now, Ignis finally feels like she understands what Raffle had said to her long ago. She realizes, with a new sense of purpose, that it is the profound time to keep her promise.